Good morning. It's 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Right now, we're looking at 30 degrees. It is partly cloudy. It'll get a little warmer today, but a steady rain for our Tuesday. Stefano's full forecast coming up right after the news. Tennessee Emergency Management says the death toll from our winter storm has gone up again. 25 deaths have now been attributed to the storm. That's up 2 from yesterday. There were 3 in total in Davidson, 2 in Hickman, and 1 in Cheatham County. Meantime, power is still out for some 20,000 customers of Nashville Electric Service, and Channel 4's Jeremy Finley has dug into the financial records at NES.
According to NES records, its CEO, Teresa Broyles-Applin, was approved for a 10% raise 2 months ago. Over the weekend, the mayor said, quote, NES is unequipped to communicate about a crisis and is now calling for an independent review of NES's ice storm performance.
So what's next? Tennessee U.S. Senator who's running for governor, Marsha Blackburn, was asked about it on the Matt Murphy Show. She was asked if heads should roll.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You know, when you look at whomever thought they were prepared for this storm, oh, yes.
Mayor Freddie O'Connell, however, says it's too early to make any changes.
I've not yet evaluated what our opportunities are between the clarifications of asking for resignations versus firing. But I also feel like we are right now focused. We had, NES board and executive leadership present yesterday, and I know they understand exactly how clear I've been in my expectations for what's happening this week.
Meantime, guardsmen with the Tennessee National Guard have partnered with the Tennessee Forestry Service to open some roadways and to restore power through several counties, including in Davidson. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Markets shook off wild overnight swings to end the day higher thanks to some help from big tech. The Dow added 515 points. The Nasdaq gained 130. The S&P grew 37 points. Stocks of companies that make computer storage helped lead the market. Airlines and cruise ship operators were also strong, benefiting from a sharp easing of oil prices. President Trump says he plans to lower tariffs on goods from India to 18% from 25% after India's Prime Minister Modi agreed to stop buying Russian oil. Gold and silver prices rallied back from severe losses. January's jobs report will be delayed by the government shutdown. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
It's mixed on the futures market this morning with the Dow futures down 30. We've got NASDAQ futures gaining 104 and the S&P futures up 9 points. That is the latest news. Stick around. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Roads are looking really clear this morning. No problems on 24, 65, or on 40. Still, however, blocked in Franklin on Natchez Trace Parkway between Highway 96 and Highway 100. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, Sam, it is so great to be back.
It's so good to have you back, Dan.
I mean, really, when it was like midnight and my alarm went off, I was like, oh, I'm so glad to be back.
No, you're not.
I'm just kidding. No, it's great to see you guys. I missed you both immensely. I miss being here in the air chair between 5 and 9 immensely. I am glad to be back. Thank you to Brian Wilson for filling in. And coming up at maybe 5:35, I'll talk a little bit about my experiences that I had moving my daughter. She is in Kentucky, and just outside of Kentucky in Indiana, but they call it a Kentuckiana, I think.
Oh.
But she moved from like a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom.
Yeah.
In like 2-degree temperatures.
With you helping her.
With me helping. Good old dad helping my daughter out. So we'll talk about that and a whole lot more. I made a post on Facebook, a couple of posts actually, over the weekend, and I wasn't really surprised by the amount of anger and vitriol that was thrown my way. But I'm going to talk about that coming up because I think it tells you a lot about the state of mind of people on the left. Because their arguments are so incredibly bass-ackwards when it comes to DEI within the NES, which is obviously a big part of the conversation these days. But can we just start off with the mayor, right? So Mayor Freddie O'Connell, this is audio only, folks. I apologize, audio only, but this is Mayor O'Connell now conveniently attacking NES with an update yesterday. I'm just going to play a few clips. Here you go. Mayor Freddie O'Connell.
NES assured us that there are no further barriers that Metro can clear to speed up restoration of power, and they've given us reason to hope, with hundreds of additional line workers arriving over the past 24 hours to join the restoration effort.
So, I mean, my immediate thought is, and I continue to facepalm. So are you telling me, Mayor Freddie O'Connell, that it is some sort of a victory that we are still getting linemen into the city when, I mean, this thing happened now, it's Tuesday. This thing happened, 9 days ago?
Yeah.
And we're still getting people in to help get the power back. What are we, about 20,000 still without power?
20,000 this morning. I mean,
This is not a victory. Mayor Freddie O'Connell, this is not a victory. This is a staggering defeat. And isn't it amazing what happens when we're able to get the right amount of line workers into an area? I mean, certainly other areas have figured it out. Why not us? What were you going to say, Joan?
I don't even know.
I kind of bulldozed right over you, and I apologize.
We're all enjoying this bulldoze. Go for it, Dan.
But think about the fact that it is now Tuesday. The storm was on Sunday, a week ago from Sunday. And so when I left on my vacation, or whatever you want to call it, one of the big questions was, why don't we simply have more boots on the ground and buckets in the air to fix the power? The biggest joke of this whole press conference, where the mayor has now signed an order demanding accountability with a commission.
Today, I'm issuing Executive Order 58 to establish a 2026 Winter Storm Response Commission to review the comprehensive response to the storm. The commission will have 9 members, including 7 who are community leaders or experts in utility infrastructure, emergency response, and crisis communications. Vice Mayor Henderson and Metro Council President Pro Tempore Delicia Porterfield will be commission members, and my office will appoint the rest in the coming days, including the chair.
So we have Delicia Porterfield and Vice Mayor Angie Henderson, 2 allies of the mayor, and the mayor's office is going to appoint the rest of this 9-panel board.
I'm sure it's going to be perfectly legit.
Anybody else have some skepticism here? You want to do a Daily Dan poll? Hey, let's do this. Hey, Sam, let's do a Daily Dan poll. Are you skeptical? Go watch us on YouTube. Are you skeptical of the mayor's accountability demanding commission? Because I am. Because, number one, you can investigate NAS all you want, but I believe that the mayor needs to be investigated too. And so if the mayor, you've got the allies, and I don't necessarily know if Delicia Porterfield and, Vice Mayor Angie Henderson must be an ally, but I don't know if these 2 are allies. But certainly if the mayor's office is going to be the one to appoint 7 of these board members of this panel board, well, here's my question. This is the same mentality that has appointed the board of NES that failed miserably. So for me, I think it is absolutely ludicrous and ridiculous that the mayor himself, who, by the way, along with NES, the mayor is obviously part of this failure. I think the state legislature, I don't know if they can. I'm going to have Jack Johnson on a little bit later on today, 6:35. But I think the state legislature, if they have the ability to step in, a lot of people are saying the state legislature has to actually take over NES. They tried that with the airport. Remember that a while ago? I think that's still under lawsuits and all that kind of stuff. So they're still trying to figure that whole thing out. But when the state legislature wanted to take over the airport board, if you will, that was sort of like an economic thing, whatever. But with NES, this is because of a clear failure that we are still living through right now. So I don't think that this little commission is going to do anything to hold anyone accountable. I don't think so. You look at Freddie O'Connell, you look at his, what would you call, I don't know, Sam, Joan, I'm having a hard time describing Freddie O'Connell. Like, I see him as just like a weak handshake. Do you know what I mean?
A weak, wet handshake.
A weak, wet.
You beat me to it. That's exactly what I was
A
thinking.
weak, wet handshake is what Freddie O'Connell feels like to me when I see the way that he is managing this whole thing. And again, I do understand NES is its own entity. By the way, can I just point out that this is also a failure by design? For years, we've had, it goes back, the NES goes back, I want to say the 1920s or 30s. It's a long, long, long time. But when you have the Democrats in power and they are the ones that are appointing the board, and the board, from what I understand, then nominates and appoints and approves the chairman, the CEO of the board. Well, this is a failure by design, especially when you have a bunch of Democrats in charge, and they favor tree canopies and DEI over keeping the flippin' power on. And so what I sense as the mayor is out there, talking tough on NES, I feel like what he's trying to do is he's trying to escape his own accountability or his own culpability. Now, one of the things that he did say, and I've got this coming up, one of the things he did say that he is willing to look at changing members of the board. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. By the way, I also spoke with a couple of, they're calling themselves, describing themselves as whistleblowers, but one member of the city, the Metro City Council, and one member of the National Guard. They want anonymity, but the things that they're saying about the mayor, not good. Details straight ahead, 5:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Oh, so quiet this morning. No problems on 24, 65, or on 40. Everything looks great. It's still closed off because of storm damage in Franklin on Natchez Trace Parkway between highways 96 and 100. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. We're all running a little behind this morning, so I don't have my official weather forecast in front of me. Can you help me out?
Oh, of course I can. Right now it's 30 degrees and partly cloudy, and then we'll have a chance of showers and then showers arriving later on today at the high around 49.
Showers and rain, a high of 49.
Yeah. Looks like it's going to rain for a long time, too.
Really?
Yeah, if you do that thing on the National Weather Service where you look at the hours.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you do that? I'm obsessed.
No, I don't do that.
It goes on. It starts at like noon today.
Okay.
And it goes on until like midnight. So.
Okay.
It's rain that we need, so it's a good thing.
It is rain. One of the first things I did when I got to Kentucky was go through a car wash.
Yeah.
Because my car had all of that salt and that icy, snowy grime that gets on your car.
Looks like that margarita glass after the seventh pour.
It's exactly what it looks like, Sam. Thank you.
Sam. Holy cow.
So the mayor... The mayor says, and you know what? After the last week or so, I think we could all use a little tequila.
Yeah.
The mayor says that he is willing to look at changing members of the board.
We will definitely evaluate, one, our legal authority, because we've also understood that Metro Council can do this by resolution. So we're going to have to look at who's got what authority in that regard. We also know that there will be at least one appointment up this year. We'll be looking at all those things.
So you have, again, a lot of people that are saying the state legislature should take over NES. You had Democrat State Representative Jason Powell. He has filed legislation that demands more oversight and accountability from NES, and he's a Democrat. You heard Michael Lofty. He was on with Murphy Show yesterday, Americans for Prosperity. So you've got Michael Lofty, Robbie Starbuck, Congressman Tim Burchett, all say absolutely NES must be taken over by the state legislature. We're going to talk to Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson. He's going to join us here in a couple of hours, 7:35, here on Nashville's Morning News. But, you know, one of the things that I said a few minutes ago, and I think it is absolute truth, that this is a failure of setup. People in Nashville are forced to take NES, right? In this monopoly, in this organization, clearly is a failure. It failed its people that it's supposed to be serving. And there won't be, I don't believe, there will be any true accountability. Do you think there's going to be any true accountability, Joan?
Yeah, if there's a change of leadership like tomorrow, a change of leadership in the city of Nashville. Because I don't believe that there'll be any feet held to the fire for this.
No,
I just don't.
No. They all circle the wagons and protect themselves.
Yes, yes.
Nashville, of course, touches Davidson County. It touches a lot of other red counties that are impacted as well. So, you know, this goes beyond Nashville, obviously. To me, accountability means a few things. You're right, Joan. Accountability means a change in leadership at the NES, but it also means a change in structure as well, not just switching out one board member for another. I mean, can we be honest? Tennessee is a very conservative state. And so, like it or not, even in Davidson County, I think it makes sense to have the elected state legislature keep an eye on NES. It does just make all the sense in the world. Now, because look at what they're trying to do. Look what they did. I mean, the DEI initiatives, the protection of the tree canopy, the wokeness of the chairwoman, the fact that they cut $7 million from the tree trimming services, all of this. All of this tells me that honestly, nobody's watching the store. There is a photograph of Mayor O'Connell with some of the people from the NES, the board, and they're very proud of the fact that they got an award from like the who is it, the Arbor Arbor Society, the people that hug the trees.
Yeah.
So they received some sort of an award because they were able to not cut down all the trees, and they were able to save the tree canopy. And so they got an award from like the Arbor Society. And there's Mayor Freddie O'Connell, who is posing with the award banner, whatever the hell it is. And it's like, so it didn't occur to any of you, Freddie O'Connell or the board, it didn't occur to any of you that maybe, just maybe, trimming $7 million from the tree cutting budget and leaving the tree canopy essentially untouched would mean that there's a problem if we end up getting ice storms.
Hey, you know, Fox is reporting this morning, Johnny Maffei, or Meffa, I don't know how to say his name, said that the NES CEO claims that it is false that they decreased the budget by $7.5 million.
She's saying that it's false?
She said it's false.
So it was Tennessee Star, actually. And I'm going to have them on at 6:35.
Oh, good.
So we'll ask which is true. I guess my question is, okay, then that allegation came out at least 4 or 5 days ago. Yeah. So are they now just realizing what's in their budget?
I punched it into Grok.
Okay, go ahead.
Did NES cut their tree trimming budget? Yes. Nashville Electric Service significantly reduced its spending on tree trimming. Reports from multiple sources, including local news investigation and NES's own annual reports, indicate that NES cut contracted tree and grass trimming services by approximately $7.4 million in 2024, from about $21.3 million in 2023 to $13.9 million in 2024. So the actual number goes to
2025, they up the budget a little, like maybe by another $1 million, but it's still well below the national average for what is spent to do tree trimming and to prevent disasters like this.
Do you know, in moments like this, I don't want to hug trees. I want to hug power poles.
Yeah. And linemen. We want to hug linemen.
Promo cut right there. That's a promo cut. I left some space there.
Oh.
You want me to do it with a little more
Should have left more space between power and pole and hugging.
And there's not a lineman out there, by the way, that wants me to hug them. Trust me on that one.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I don't think they want you hugging their pole, Dan.
Big burly lineman. I'm coming in.
Coming in for a hug.
Coming in for a hug. Oh, can you imagine? Moving right along. Who do you think a lineman would rather hug? The mayor or the morning mayor of WTN?
Ooh.
That's a tough lineman. Let's go to the phones. Totally kidding. Here's more from the mayor.
The ability for crisis communications had a hard time meeting the moment of the largest crisis in their institutional history. What I can tell you, though, is they've definitely heard us loudly and clearly. We have been pushing toward better alignment. I will tell you, our staff and theirs were working through the weekend. We expect to have them have a stronger presence at our EOC. We also expect to have a stronger mayor's office presence in their operations center as we work through the week and try to get power fully restored.
So what is it they say? What's the colloquialism? Barn door, horse is gone, right? So the horses are already like well out into the wilderness because the barn door was open. In other words, you know, the mayor and NES, we're going to, you know, take more proactive roles in each other's business. We're going to be watching them. They're going to be Dude, the entire nation is watching the failure of Nashville, and now you're telling us that you're going to work together. Yes, here it is. NES was named Treeline USA Utility by the Arbor Day Foundation. 16 years in a row. It's a proud moment for Nashville.
What is that award? Like, what does it entail? Do we have the prettiest canopy? That's what it better mean.
In a press release published last year, NES noted that it had been named a tree line utility every year since 2009 and explained that the recognition is reserved for utilities that demonstrate their commitment to providing safe, efficient service while protecting and preserving community trees. Do they have to get their award back? Because there is nothing safe or efficient about the service that has been provided to the city of Nashville. So, hey, Arbor Day, people, take your award back. Thank God, though, we've preserved the... You know what, though? Mother Nature came and destroyed the trees. Here's the crazy thing. Am I right on this, Arbor Day people, Arbor people, tree people? So we've had a lot of trees destroyed in Nashville, right? So had they done the proper tree trimming, would a lot of those trees that were destroyed still be with us? Do you know what I'm saying? Like if they had cut back on the canopy, would we still have some of those trees that Joan, you're a person that does plants and stuff.
Yeah.
So if they had cut down the trees or trimmed the trees where they should have been trimmed back so that the canopy was shorter and under the power lines, then would those trees still be with us or would they have died anyway?
I think they would have died anyway. I mean, all you have to do is look up. Look up. There's so much that has been torn down, and what's left of these trees means that the trees are they're either going to die or they're just in such bad shape. They're going to have to come down anyway.
I think you have to look at the type of tree too. I think a lot of it has been these hackberries and these Bradford pears that are brittle and stubborn and go down and split.
Are those
pretty
Bradford
easy.
pears the one that came from China?
Yeah. Yes.
That's the damn Chinese. It always goes back to the Chinese. Every time. Last time I got food poisoning, you know what it was? Chinese food.
No, really?
What did you say?
The Chinese.
It's Chinese. It's always the damn Chinese.
She said In-N-Out.
By the way, did you hear that the governor had an In-N-Out reference in his big speech last night?
Oh, he did, really?
He sure did. Anyway, I got a lot more straight ahead, WTN. 527. All right, Joan, what's coming up in the news?
So coming up here in the news this morning, NES leadership, of course, under fire. We've got more stories about that. Also, Bill and Hillary agree to appear before Congress. Coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Mayor Freddie O'Connell ordering an investigation into how NES prepared for and responded to the January winter storm. Meantime, attention and anger is being directed at NES's leadership for the failed storm response. Here's Channel 4's Jeremy Findlay.
No power.
Michelle Cudd saw what NES posted on social media before the storm.
There wasn't anything behind that post, with the exception of just, we're going to blanket this house and say, we're ready, we're with you, Nashville. Well, okay, obviously they were not.
While the post reads, we're ready, Cudd, who was without power for 7 days, says the company's leadership suggests otherwise.
I didn't have one iota of any kind of text, email, anything until Friday morning, and it says my power's on, and it's not.
NES still has some 20,000 customers without power this morning. Congress was this close to holding former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in contempt for ignoring a congressional subpoena. Well, now their lawyer says they will appear for questioning over their ties to Jeffrey Epstein.
Neither Bill nor Hillary Clinton has been accused of wrongdoing, and they both deny having any knowledge of Epstein's crimes. They proposed alternatives to in-person testimony, recently offering to sit for a 4-hour transcribed interview. But Chairman Comer balking at that offer, claiming the former president would try to run out the clock by giving unnecessarily long answers. Comer saying the former president has an established record of being a loquacious individual. And overnight, Comer appearing skeptical that the depositions will actually happen, saying the Clintons' counsel has said they agree to terms, but those terms lack clarity yet again.
That's ABC's Sophie Flay reporting. That is the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got a crash on 24 westbound this morning in Murfreesboro. It's right at Old Ford Parkway, exit 78, and the right entrance lane has been blocked off by it. Also getting some information here from drivers, and thank you. A westbound 40, mile marker 228, just west of Golden Bear Gateway. There is a two-car crash. It's on the right side, and one of the lanes is closed off right now. Watch it, too. There's fire trucks and EMS and police on the scene. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.538, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. Joan, I was so bummed out. Sam, I was so bummed out.
By?
When I am driving northbound to Kentucky.
Okay.
And I find out that Don Lemon has been arrested.
And why are you...
Because I didn't get to participate.
Oh, I see. I got you.
So it's such a fun topic to talk about.
Yeah.
And he was arrested. So I guess he was on with Kimmel last night. Got some video here. He was on with Kimmel last night, and this is what he said. The question is, at what point did you realize how serious this is?
When did you realize that this was a very, very big story?
I did. I had no idea. I had a little bit of an idea when I asked to use the restroom, and sort of early in the morning. I wasn't sure what time. I didn't have a watch or anything, so I didn't know. And so I go out, and they open the door to the room where the agents, they're housed, or their office, and there was CNN on a monitor. And on the thing I could see, former CNN anchor Don Lemon arrested in Los Angeles. And I said to the guy, I was like, is that, I said, is that happening a lot? He goes, you've been on all morning.
Yeah.
And he says, this is a big deal. But I still didn't know how big a deal it was. Where'd he go?
All right, so there you go.
What guys was he talking to?
Jimmy Kimmel.
No.
Oh, he was talking to the apparently the agents that he was dealing with as he was arrested. Oh. Let's see here. Guy says, call me, NES employee willing to speak anonymously.
What? Oh, interesting.
I don't know. You want to do that? I mean, I can. I'm on the radio. Let me write this down. You know how it goes on the super text line. 12. Okay. So, do you have that audio, Sam? I've asked Sam to. This is why Sam hates working with me. I posted a video on Facebook. Did you see it, Joan, over the weekend? I posted a video about my disgust for what was going on with NES and the DEI and all that kind of stuff. And so, personally, Joan, I thought it was a no-brainer. You've got all of these people without power, and you are proudly flying your freak flag with the DEI. And so this stuff just, it doesn't age well. That's what I'm going to say. It doesn't age well. So, Sam, if you could play the audio, I'm pretty sure I don't curse in this. I posted this to Facebook. Go ahead, Sam, and play it. Buddy Dan Mandis, and I'm sitting here reading about the ongoing tragedy that is happening in Nashville, Tennessee. We still have tens of thousands of people without power, and people are dying. It is a tragedy that, again, continues to unfold. Nashville Electric, what an absolute progressive train wreck. They've held, over the last couple of years, over 100 seminars for their employees, stressing the importance of diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and accessibility. Meantime, they're not making sure that people have accessibility or access to power in freezing temperatures. At some point, I hope that the people of Nashville understand that constantly voting for progressives leads to incompetence, death, and destruction. I mean, please, Nashville, vote accordingly. Yeah, just shut up. So, hey, everybody. All right, I can only hear it once.
You tell yourself to shut up?
Yes, I would like to join my wife in most of Middle Tennessee. Pretty straightforward, though, right? The amount of hatred and level and vitriol that was leveled my way over that. Now, I do understand it's one thing to say something in the friendly confines of, WTN. We're all conservative, and a lot of us are conservative, and we don't like DEI, because I think that DEI is a mentality that is indicative of what a company's culture is like. So, for example, if you're embracing DEI, then you're also embracing trees over power poles. And you are all about, because let's be honest about what DEI is. It's embracing diversity over competence, right? We have seen that to a T right now here in the last week and a half. And so you had all these people on Facebook, some of the most ridiculous things. Like several people called me a racist because I was, talking about DEI in a negative way. So one guy was like, how to tell me you're racist without telling me you're racist? Oh, okay. So obviously ridiculous, but whatever. I don't like DEI, but that doesn't mean that I'm racist. Another one of my favorites. How many power lines have you put back up, Mandis? It's like, well, none, because that's not what I do. But you see how ridiculous the people on the left are when they start coming after you with nonsensical arguments when you're making, in my opinion, a perfectly good point. Another one. How many families have you taken in? Well, I haven't taken in any. I've got my own family that I'm trying to protect. And I don't have the room for other families. But again, what does any of that have to do with the failures of NAS, right? Nothing. But remember that, and my favorite was all the people screaming at me that I was criticizing the linemen. Nowhere in that did I say that I was criticizing the linemen. I was on with Murphy Show yesterday doing a Groundhog's Day thing, and Michael Lotvi was there. So we're talking about this. And one of the things that Lofty said, and I absolutely agree, is that if you're criticizing the management of NAS, one of their just knee-jerk defensive reactions, the people on the left, is, oh, you're criticizing the linemen. No, I'm not criticizing the linemen. The linemen are to be appreciated as heroes. They're working 16 hours a day. They're away from their wife and their children and their families and their homes. They are doing incredible work. Only a mutant-minded leftist would take the comment that I made and turn that into criticizing the linemen. Because I wasn't... Do you know what the funny thing is? I didn't say in my little video there, I didn't say that, the linemen are to be appreciated. Because that goes without saying. If you are a rationally minded human being, then it goes without saying that you appreciate the linemen. But again, it's that reflexive knee-jerk reaction, because I think that the left in Tennessee, I think the left knows that this is, with the whole situation with NAS, this is a failure of their principles. It's a failure of the things that they hold so dear. Like, for example, tree canopies and DEI. It has been a complete and utter failure. And again, that leads to, and that is an indication of a cultural issue within that party. The other thing that I said right there at the end, which was something about how Democrat policies and everything that the Democrats hold dear, they do lead to death and destruction. So I don't know, what's the death toll right now as far as the ice storms in Nashville? I think is like 5 or 6 across Tennessee. It's going to be obviously more. But if you want to go down the road of Democrat policies leading to death and destruction, look at Nashville and the ice storm. Look at the soft on crime policies that we have seen all across America in cities like Chicago and Memphis and New York. And I could go on, right? And I do. And then ultimately, it's because of the soft on crime DEI policies that are instilled in those major blue Democrat-run cities. So please, prove me wrong that Democrat policies don't lead to death and destruction. Do I need to talk about Joe Biden? Do I need to talk about Joe flippin' Biden and all of the illegal aliens that he put into this country, allowed into this country, and they ended up killing Americans?
Come on, man.
I could go on all day with this. It's very simple. So, yeah, please prove me wrong. Somehow tell me that Democrat policies do not lead to death and destruction. The evidence is all there. And by the way, then guess what happens? Then you go to a place like Memphis and the Republicans step in. And then ultimately, what do we find? Conservative values saving lives. How many? I've said this 1,000 times. How many black lives has Donald Trump saved by going into Memphis, by going into Washington, D.C.? He saved a lot. And so while these morons on the left are screaming Black Lives Matter, what have they done to actually save black lives? Absolutely nothing. But what has Donald Trump done? He sent in the National Guard. Here in Tennessee, Bill Lee, Donald Trump, sending in that law enforcement surge to save all those black lives. So somebody please tell me how the Democrats and their priorities save lives. Clearly they don't. I mean, don't get me going on abortion. Lord have mercy.
I mean, you got a minute and get going.
Well, I'm sorry, man. What did you say?
I said you got a minute. You can get going.
I'm done. 0210 says, "Oh, Mandis, you're just jealous of Mayor Freddie." I'm jealous of his hairline. That's what it is.
I wouldn't find much to be jealous in, frail.
Jealous of his, frailty.
He's like the human equivalent of a bird.
Bill says, and those illegals that raped and sodomized little girls. I preaching to the choir, man. Preaching to the choir. So the people asking me how the move went with my daughter, just real quick, if I can go personal for a second. So they were just, Joan, moving from one apartment to a townhouse in this apartment complex, townhouse complex in Indiana.
Yeah.
So they didn't bother really to pack much.
Oh.
So I want you to picture yours truly walking back and forth, carrying things like microwaves and coffee pots and pots and pans, because nothing is in a box. Because they're only moving, don't you know, across the complex. And I said to him, and I was good-natured about it, but I said to him, yeah, but you do realize that it needs to make it from the kitchen to the truck. And if you put it in a box, that is like one trip versus 5. Do you know what my daughter said?
Mm-mm. But, Dad, we have you.
Yes.
Yeah.
She also said, oh, that makes sense. So I'm moving all of this, and I love my daughter so much. She's young. So we're moving this in like 4-degree temperature, feels like -1. And I'm walking over ice, like on the ground, moving this stuff. It was an absolute nightmare. I didn't think, Joan, that we were going to get through it. And then the guy that was supposed to help us move backed out, of course, because that's what people do. So as a housewarming gift to my lovely daughter, I actually bought them a move. I called a couple of movers and I said, we've got a washer and a dryer. We've got a couple of chairs and a couch and a big old like 500-pound mattress that needs to be moved. Because you know what? I wasn't doing it. I got a bad back, regardless of the greatness of the Wellness Institute of Nashville.
Makes sense.
Thank you. It does make sense.
Like the ice.
Yes.
Was there as much ice there as here?
Where I was walking, yes, Joan.
Yeah, okay.
Where I was stepping, there was ice. It was like when I would walk, a patch of ice would just magically form under my foot.
Probably from your tears.
It's exactly what it is, Sam. Very good. Anyway. Let's see here. Sam and that bird is a dodo bird. Freddie O'Connell is like a dodo bird.
Yes, flightless and totally helpless.
Is that what a dodo bird is?
Yeah.
Flightless and totally
How
helpless.
else do you go extinct?
I don't know. I didn't know dodo birds were extinct.
Well, I mean, due to cloning, I think they're coming back. But
why would you want to
were.
clone? Why would you want to clone a dodo bird
Why
for them
did
to
they
come back?
They did it with the woolly mammoth.
Do you know what they did? Maybe
They've done
took
it with dire wolves.
Oh my gosh! Do you know what I just realized, Joan and Sam? Is that they took the DNA of a dodo bird, Jurassic Park style, and created a mayor.
He just needs his feathers back.
You want to? Yeah, that's.
Wait, is it also true that he was supposed to be on with Matt Murphy last night and just ditched him?
Yep.
Dun dun dun.
I got my own theory on this. You want to hear it?
Yeah,
and I don't want to make enemies of the mayor's office, but I'd actually called the mayor's office inquiring about some things, and that call happened at 10:18.
Yesterday morning?
Yesterday morning.
Okay.
At 10:40, they canceled the interview with Matt Murphy.
Oh, my.
Did you?
I don't know.
Did you poison?
Listen,
the
I don't know.
waters
I
for
was
Matt
asking.
Murphy?
I was nice. I was asking questions. That's all I was doing. I was asking questions.
Wow.
That's what I do, Joan. That's what I do, Sam. I am a professional question asker.
They need to know that we're not with Sinclair.
Matt Murphy would have also been a question asker were it not for you.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry the mayor couldn't handle an interview with Matt Murphy. I don't know. Whatever. It's all.
Yeah.
I mean, I told Matt I felt bad because I felt like I torpedoed his interview with the mayor. By the way, that's like the second. I think that's the second time. Because remember, NES backed out of an interview with Matt Murphy too.
Oh man.
And now the mayor is. I don't know if it's the first or second time the mayor has dished Murphy show. But anyway, they do have a lot going on over there at the mayor's office. As I've been documenting, they're busy building that commission to hold NES accountable. Got a lot more straight ahead. 5:55. Joan, what is coming up in the news at 6?
Yeah, coming up here. Here come the bursting water pipes, too, to add to all of this. We'll tell you what Metro Water is saying about their preparedness. Also, got an update on the search for Savannah Guthrie's mom. It's coming up at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:59, Nashville's morning news on Super Talk 99.7 WTNR. Coming up, we've got Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson coming up at 6:35. Looking forward to speaking to him. And at 7:35, Tom Peppert with the Tennessee Star, their lead reporter, going to talk about all things power outage and what is next. Also, the governor did his State of the State speech last night. I thought it was good. I know the haters probably hated some part of it, but I do have some select audio bites from that as well. Very busy morning. A super text line is very active today. Thank you. 615-737-9986. Watch us on YouTube. Watch us on Facebook. Watch us on X. We've got Joan Jones with the news right now. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning now, 6 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There are still nearly 20,000 Nashville Electric customers in the dark this morning, and it comes as TEMA has upped the death toll to 25 in the wake of that storm. Meantime, Metro Water Service is also a concern, and Deputy Director Brent Freeman says that water quality in Nashville remains safe and that every pumping station and reservoir are still operating. But thawing will cause main breaks, which could mean some outages.
We have adequate capacity to address all of these breaks. We have repair crews that are assigned to every break, and we have crews on standby, and we have contractors that are available to step in and assist as needed.
Now, Metro Water has at least 12 active repairs, and they say they're investigating as many as 14 other issues. Still no sign of Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie.
New details overnight in the search for Nancy Guthrie, mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie. Authorities now saying they believe the 84-year-old was abducted from her Arizona home early Sunday, kidnapped while she was sleeping.
To be in your own bedroom, in your own bed, safe and secure in your own home, and to be taken like that in the middle of the night, that is not Tucson. She did not leave on her own. We know that.
The sheriff says they're now waiting for test results on DNA samples collected at the scene.
And ABC News is also saying that Nancy could not have left her home under her own power because of mobility issues. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Stocks posted a strong start to the new month with the Dow Jones gaining over 500 points Monday to close at 49,407. The S&P and the NASDAQ composite each picked up more than 0.5%. Futures for all three were higher overnight. Precious metals staged at least a partial rebound from a historic sell-off that analysts are calling a reset rather than a downturn. Gold prices in New York were up 6% this morning at $49.51 per ounce. President Trump is touting a new trade deal that cuts tariffs on imports from India from 50% to 18%. In exchange, he says India will start buying oil from the U.S. and possibly Venezuela instead of from Russia. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And stock futures this morning appear to be mixed. The Dow futures are down 59, but the NASDAQ futures gaining 96, and the S&P futures are plus 5. That's the latest news. Stick around for traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 6:03, Nashville's morning news on Super Talk 99.7. Dan Mandis here. You know, you've heard me talk about my cataract surgery at Vision for Life, and it most certainly has been life-changing. I didn't even realize how much my vision was holding me back until I had clear sight again. Reading small print, not a problem. Driving at night, no more halos or blurry lights. Watching TV, working, even just being outside. These days, colors are brighter, details are sharper, and I feel more confident in everything that I do. Now, I didn't even notice how much I was compensating before. I just thought that I was getting older and squinting and adjusting, avoiding things that I used to enjoy. These days, though, I feel like I've got a new lease on life, and my only regret is that I did not do it sooner. Now, if you're where I was, tired of struggling with your vision, do what I did and talk to Dr. Jeff Horn and his team at Vision for Life. They are the best at what they do. They truly care about you and your case and your surgery. Schedule your consultation today at 615-436-2020. 615-436-2020. Find them online, visionforlife.com, 436-2020, visionforlife.com.
We still have that issue this morning on 24 westbound side at Old Ford Parkway. It's a crash at the right entrance lane there. It's blocked off on the right entrance lane. Watch out for it. And we have a problem, too, in the West End, I-440 westbound before West End Avenue exit 1. That is also the scene of a crash. Now, westbound 40, mile marker 228. It's just west of Golden Bear Gateway. There is a two-car crash, and the right side lane is blocked off. One of those lanes is blocked off. A lot of equipment on the scene of that one as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.606 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends, and welcome on in to a Tuesday, February 3rd. I almost said Monday because it's like a Monday to me. So 4418 on the Super Text line. Joan, I feel like we need to defend the good honor of WTN just very quickly.
Okay.
He says, I'm a 30-year loyal night and day listener. Thank you. WTN did nothing positive. Really? Like organizing warming hot drink stations for linemen, providing info where folks could go. We actually, no, we didn't set up hot drink stations for linemen, but we gave out all kinds of information on the radio and online and on our socials. I had the Jeep people that were giving rides to, doctors and nurses and all that. We had the people from the I know that I had the guy on talking about, the power and, all of those kinds of things and how all of that works. And I don't remember all that I did. I remember also on the Super Text line, people were trying to figure out where they could get propane. And we talked about that in different places where they could get propane in their area. And I know that Murphy Show did a lot too. I mean, I've been gone for a while, but, Murphy Show spent, from what I understand, a couple of hours trying to set people up with whatever it was that they needed. So I feel like that is an unfair accusation. And by the way, I would also mention to 4418, and again, I thank you for listening. But sometimes the most valuable thing that a station like ours can do is ask questions. And if that's negative, okay, well, that's your negative is my positive, because we need to do what we can to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So, Joan, I don't believe that we did nothing, as 4418 is saying. I
think that the role of a radio station is information. I mean, that is what we do. We do information.
Information fueled, opinion driven.
Yeah. And so if we if we did that, and I think you did a great job with connecting people to things that they need, and bringing people on to talk about their experiences.
That's right. I had people on talking about the roads.
Yeah, and what it's like to live in a house without any heat. I mean, we've delved into this. This is what we do.
I walked to work on that frightful morning. Remember that when I walked into work and I live streamed the thing?
Yes.
That was like a public service. Anyway, whatever. So 4418, I appreciate you listening. And I do understand. I don't know what else to say about it other than I feel like we got the information out there on an information-fueled, opinion-driven station. And I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. I feel like we did do our part. But everybody is free to say whatever it is that they want, and I appreciate 4418 for listening.
If we had the resources to do more, we certainly would have done it. But everyone was trying to deal with something all at once, and it's never going to be a pretty situation.
No. And by the way, the best thing that we can do right now is to ask the questions. And that's one of the things that people have been saying is, okay, so how do we ensure that this doesn't happen again? By shining a light on the incompetence, which, again, people say, oh, you're being so negative. It's like, no, man, we're being positive because we need to make sure that this doesn't happen again. We're talking about Marsha Blackburn earlier. Got some audio here. Talking about Marsha Blackburn earlier. She was on with Matt Murphy yesterday. One of the things that she did say was that heads got to roll.
You know, sometimes you'll say somebody's been watching the wrong ball. And
yeah,
I think that they were off into things that were not about keeping the power on. Mm-hmm. And because of that, we've seen this. You know, in the letter she sent me, she said they had 230 NES linemen and 984 contract workers. Well, why didn't they have these contract workers in here immediately? If they didn't do the tree trimming and they knew that was going to be a problem, why didn't they take the 8 or 9 days advance notice we had on this
100%.
and get crews out trimming some of these limbs in areas where they generally lose the power?
Over a dozen other providers got the same recognition that NES did as far as the Arbor League or whatever that is, the tree huggers. And so
the Arbor League,
whatever that, what is it? The Arbor?
That just sounds like a supervillain group.
It does, doesn't it?
The Arbor League.
It's like a team of trees running around, flying around, and whatever.
Knocking out power lines.
Knocking out power lines. That's exact. You know what the trees ought to do? If they want to become the Arbor League, somehow get everybody's power back on. But here's the thing, and this is from the Tennessee Star. Perhaps explaining the company's repeated awards for its vegetation management, CEO Teresa Broyles-Applin said last August that NES prioritizes Nashville's tree canopy through its trimming practices. They said, we care about the canopy. We have to live here too, she said. I don't want us out destroying the canopy, which, I mean, obviously a quote that is now living in infamy. She says that we do species-specific trimming. We take a lot of pride in making sure that we are cutting the trees in a healthy fashion. Her resume, a lot of people are making a point about this. Her resume was accounting. And then she ends up in charge of the board with zero experience. A lot of folks are talking about that. You know, one of the things that I said before I left was, can somebody please tell me, has anybody on this board of the NES, have they actually gone up into a bucket? Do they know what it's like to work a 16-hour shift? In other words, is it beyond the pale? And maybe I'm wrong on this, but is it beyond the pale to expect somebody on the NES board to be able to have some actual real life experience in bringing the power back and all that kind of stuff? Because it seems like that's what they were missing. That and a lot of forethought. Now, yesterday I spent a lot of time talking to some people in this sort of orbit from the Metro Council and also from the National Guard. And they want to remain anonymous, and I'm going to honor that because I believe that they are whistleblowers. But what they told me might blow your mind. Details straight ahead. 6:15, time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather goes, mostly cloudy, periods of rain today, the afternoon, as a matter of fact. A high of 46, feeling like 41. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. So I spoke to a Metro Council member and also a member of the National Guard. They are pointing their fingers right at Mayor Freddie O'Connell. So again, they want to remain anonymous, but here's the deal. This is what they're saying about the mayor. The headline from both of them was this. The mayor did not want the National or the State Guard in Nashville because the mayor simply didn't want to look like Memphis or Minneapolis. Because remember, you've got the National Guard, and they are in cities like Memphis or, Chicago or Washington, D.C., et cetera. And they're fighting illegal aliens, and they're fighting, all of that. And so if I'm interpreting their statement correctly, the mayor was afraid that the presence of the National Guard might trigger the good people of Nashville because we had the ICE raids a couple of months ago. Now, a few things. Number one, the mayor bringing in the National Guard or the State Guard, that is a governor thing. My question would be this. How aggressive was the mayor in asking for the State Guard leading into the storm and what happened after the storm? Because it seems to me like the mayor just didn't seem to understand the gravity of the situation early on. And so now the mayor is asking for this commission. He's blasting NES, but the reality is he didn't really seem to know what was going on. And that's on the mayor. I mean, honestly, I was a manager, and a lot of you managers know this. I was a manager for over 30 years. And so I realized that NES is its own sort of, separate entity, if you will. But if I'm the mayor, I've got to know intimately what is going on with NES, especially during a power outage, especially when an ice storm is on the way. And so I'll say that while we're all talking about this and asking the question about NES turning away the IBEW unionized linemen, is we had like 230,000 people without power at the time. Freddie didn't seem to have a clue. We were talking about that, where it's like there's all these rumors on social media, on Facebook, that NES said to all of these thousands of IBEW unionized linemen, we don't need your help. Yet all of these people were out of power. In the 5 o'clock hour, I played you audio from Freddie's press conference yesterday, where he said, oh, yeah, we're getting, I think he said, more linemen today. It's like, are you kidding me? We're like 9 days out, man. How do we not have the amount of linemen? And so whether we're talking about, the National Guard coming in and doing whatever prep work they needed to do to, trim trees or coordination efforts or, after the storm hit and bringing people in to get the trees cut, the vegetation cut and so forth. But, do you believe that the mayor was actually worried about Nashville looking like Memphis or Minneapolis by having the National Guard in? Not, dealing with illegal alien criminals, but dealing with downed tree branches and coordination efforts. That's what I heard from not one, but two different people. Now, there's going to be an after-action report. And when that after-action report happens, and here's what I'm hoping. What I'm hoping is with said after-action report that it's not done with this, to borrow a phrase from Matt Murphy, I'm going to call it a nincompoopy commission, right? Where you've got the mayor and he is basically in charge of putting all the people on this commission. The mayor has to be looked at as well, as I plainly stated in the 5 o'clock hour, because he seemed disconnected with reality as far as what was going on the ground. And so anyway, you've got the members of the council. They are also saying that they asked the mayor's office for state guardsmen to help with prep and cleanup and the like, and to make the roads accessible. And the mayor simply did not respond. His office did not respond to members of the council. Not a yes, not a no, just no response, and left them hanging. Now, I'm trying to be fair to the mayor, So I called the mayor's office, and they said, well, that's not how it works. They can request, the Metro City Council members, they can request all they want. But their goal is to get as many people online as quickly as possible. And if they get, 5,000 people online in one area, if they can get 5,000 people online in one area, but only 200 in another area, well, that 5,000 is going to take priority. And by the way, it's a whole process dealing with agencies and departments to make those requests as well. So from what I'm hearing and from what I'm understanding, though, is that there are members of the Nashville Metro Council. They're really PO'd at the mayor, like really angry. Now, I don't know what they do with that anger. And I'm not just talking about Republicans. What is it? So like, oh, and by the way, I should mention that the people that I'm talking to, because I'm talking to several, they're not Republican. They're not all Republican. So there is that. But the question is, why was the mayor so clueless? Why did he say things like, oh, yeah, things are going great with NES, only to then turn around and say that they weren't? Why didn't he know what was going on? Why wasn't he more aggressive with the messaging early on? Again, not to belabor the point, but we all I don't know what everybody else was doing on the station, but we all were talking about, the confusion over NES saying, oh, no, we don't need any help from the unions. We got all we need, when clearly we didn't. The messaging was weak, the messaging was mixed, and the messaging was wrong, not only by NES, but also by the mayor. This is, again, more audio from Senator Marsha Blackburn. She was on yesterday.
Poor communication. Even Mayor Freddie said, they were ill-equipped to communicate with people what was going on. And we have to realize it's just not Metro Nashville alone. You've got other counties that they go into these other counties in their service area. And people were left with basically no information, and no one seemed to be calling the shots. And you'd hear one thing from one person at NES, and then you'd turn around and, a half hour later, you were hearing something else.
Yeah, now I'm here to tell you, as much disrespect as I have for Freddie O'Connell, I find it, on the one hand, hard to believe that there is a sensitivity to law enforcement providing critical storm preparation. That's crazy. Are these Democrats, are they that inept that they would say no to the National Guard coming in and helping with critical storm situations because they don't want Nashvillians to be triggered by the National Guard coming in because there's all these visions of, oh, my God, the National Guard is here and they're going to start picking up illegal aliens. I mean, on the one hand, knowing what I know about Freddie O'Connell, it checks out, right? But at the same time, are they really that dumb? And I mean, do you really have to ask that question knowing what we know about Democrats? By the way, I'm going to talk to Tom Pappert coming up here in the next hour to talk about this part of the story. By the way, the National Guard source also says that some of the city-run shelters have been lacking in cots and showers and volunteers early on. So there's that aspect to the story as well. I've not seen that reported anywhere. So here's my thing, is I got people that are blowing the whistle on this stuff, and there is going to be an after-action report, and there's going to be a lot of eyes on what has happened, what has transpired over the last 7 to 9 days. But it goes beyond that. I mean, it goes to, the forethought, the planning, the decision to cut the $7 million from, the tree trimming budget. It goes to them deciding that they wanted to favor canopies over, power poles. And essentially they were, favoring trees over people. And so now the bottom line is the mayor has set up this commission to look at all of this, and I'm skeptical. I said this in the 5, because this 9-person commission is going to be filled with allies of the mayor and also mayoral appointees. So all of this is going to come out in the wash, and reports are going to be filed, and people are going to be spoken to. They're going to look back at emails and all that kind of stuff, and they'll really just do a major debrief of everything that has happened. And it is my hope that what these people are saying that have been speaking to me, it is my hope that we can get more clarity from the mayor's office on exactly what happened when, and why it was that the mayor perhaps wasn't so welcoming to the National Guard early on. Now, eventually, obviously, the National Guard is in the city of Nashville, and so that is now. But the first couple of days, there was a lot of conversation about where they were going to go and when. So all of this is going to come out in the wash. We'll ultimately see where the mayor ultimately stands on all of this and what he did. By the way, you got that Metro Council member, is her Joy Stiles? Joy Stiles came out. This was when I was gone, but she came out and she was putting Mayor Freddie O'Connell on absolute full blast as well. She, by the way, is running against the mayor as she announced her run for the mayor's office as all of this was going on. So there's a lot to look at. There's a lot to look at. There's a lot to debrief. There's a lot to dissect as well. And we'll see where all of this comes out. It is 6:26 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. And Joan has the news coming up at 6:30. Joan.
Yeah, we'll tell you why Elon Musk's office in Paris has just been raided. We've got the story coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here for my friends at DT McCall's. Now, this is a great Tennessee company. They are here for their fellow Tennesseans with great prices, selection, and value as well. Now, I've been telling you for years about these folks. They've been helping people out for 4 generations. If you need it, they've got it at DT McCall's. Indoor furniture, if you've got a room to fill, go to DT McCall's. If you need appliances, if it plugs in, they've got it. They've always got specials going on to save you money. All you got to do, something breaks in your home, go to the front page of their website. They've got specials and great prices on all the best brands of appliances like washer and dryer sets, dishwashers, and a whole lot more. They've been at it for over 100 years with a focus on customer service. And by the way, if you buy it, they're going to deliver it for free and haul away the old stuff. They've got 5 locations all across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com. Dan Mandis here. I'm going to tell you about my friends at Window Nation. Is your heat running more than it should? Well, it's probably because your window insulation has failed. If you've got old windows, you've probably got that cold air coming in, the hot air from your heater going out. It's time to call Window Nation. The pros at Window Nation, they can help you get brand new energy-efficient windows at a great price. Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 Windows free sale is going on right now. It is a great time to replace all the windows in your home. Now, you could also get them with 0 money down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. You act right now. Check this out. You act right now. You get an extra 10% off for Valentine's Day. Replace your old or builder-grade windows with custom-built, high-quality windows from Window Nation. The website, you can check them out there, is windownation.com. They've got an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, 45,000 5-star reviews, and 96% customer satisfaction rating. And don't forget about that great deal. Buy 4 windows, get 4 windows free. That sale is going on right now. You could also get them with 0 money down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. You act right now, you get another 10% off for Valentine's Day. Make sure you tell them that Dan Mandis told you to reach out.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Governor Bill Lee would like to see his school voucher program doubled to include 40,000 families. That's what he said last night in his final State of the State address.
It has been the highest honor of my life to serve alongside you. Growing the program would open the door of opportunity for thousands more children statewide.
He also said the state is getting $1 billion in grants to improve rural health care in the state. President Trump is meeting with Colombian President Gustavo Petro today at the White House. This will be the first sit-down with a South American head of state since Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro was extracted. Elon Musk's offices in Paris have been raided by prosecutors' cyber crime unit there. Now they want Musk to appear for questioning as part of an investigation into alleged sexual deepfakes and Holocaust denial content. And something a little different for McDonald's. The fast food giant is offering a McNugget caviar kit just in time for Valentine's Day. The offering was inspired by a viral dish served at the U.S. Open last year for $100. But get this, McDonald's is offering this kit with McNuggets and caviar for free. You just have to sign up for that kit when it drops online. Check it out at McNuggetCaviar.com. The kit will be offered starting Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Time.
You ever had caviar there, Joan Jones?
I have.
I
yeah.
knew it. You're so fancy.
Yeah, no, not exactly. Whenever you go on a cruise, there's always a caviar offering. So,
Hoity-toity much?
no.
I've been on a cruise. I wouldn't eat the caviar. It looks gross.
Oh,
Did you like caviar?
I did like it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's not like I would pay a lot of money to have it.
So
or
when you
repeatedly.
eat the caviar McNugget, do you have to do it with like your pinky out?
Well, you have the little spoon, the little caviar spoon, right? And you would just sort of put it on top of your nuggets.
Hunter Biden thought the caviar spoon was for cocaine.
Wow.
Have you heard that story?
He probably used it.
Probably.
Did he?
I don't. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
It was for Parmesan, Dan.
That's
Right.
what it is.
Parmesan.
All right, go. We got Jack Johnson on hold. So,
All right.
my bad. Go ahead.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got to press
Hey,
the
it's Dan
buttons.
Mandis, and this February, love is in the air. And Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they are sweetening the season with their Valentine's Sweetheart Deal giveaway. That's right. Now, if you're a new customer, when you join the yearly Beehive membership anytime here in the month of February, you're automatically registered to win the Sweetheart Deal giveaway. One lucky winner, maybe you, is going to enjoy an exclusive relaxing massage from Third Coast Salt, Wilson County's best, and a $100 Visa gift card for a romantic dinner for two. Tune in for the live drawing. It is going to happen on Friday, February 13th on Facebook Live. And by the way, when storms hit, as we've just seen, Busy Bee has your back with storm-focused savings ready to protect your home. Now, right now, get 40% off a whole home surge protector with repairs, and you can take $500 off select whole home water repipes. And by the way, don't forget the Busy Bee favorite, 93 or free, the main line clog promotion. If they can't clear it, you don't pay, so don't wait. Call them 615-775-7833. Head over online, busybeehvac.com. Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I cannot stop thinking about the summertime when it's finally going to get warmer, and you need to be ready. My friends at Contours, they can help you with the help of their cutting-edge red light technology. If you want to look and feel your best, again, Contours can help you. Right now, for just $99, you can get started. They can literally melt inches off your midsection with this cutting-edge and effective red light technology. So come on in, $99 to see if it works for you. No contracts and no gimmicks, just to guarantee that you're going to lose 2 inches in the belly, or that first visit is absolutely free. Again, I've done it, Matt's done it as well. Now it is your turn. It takes about an hour a week. It is FDA cleared. No, it doesn't hurt. And obviously, it's not going to damage you. And Contours specializes in targeted fat loss, facials, and a whole lot more. Now, if you want to go, you do. You try it. You like it. You buy a Belly Buster package. You get 3 free maintenance visits as well. That saves you $1,500. But it all begins with that $99 special. That gets you that first consultation and treatment. Right now, the first 10 callers get it for just $99. You see results or it's free. 615-236-9960. 615-236-9960. Online, ContoursLLC.com. 6:39, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in to a Tuesday. It is February 3rd. Governor Lee gave his State of the State speech last night. Here's a little tidbit.
It's impossible to fully appreciate the relationship between a governor and a General Assembly until you're submerged in the deep end together, solving real serious problems. And yes, sometimes wrestling it out, but always looking for opportunities to make life better for the 7 million people that we serve. I am grateful to be part of that process with you.
So the governor, of course, was in front of the state legislature, and Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson, no doubt, had a front row seat. And let me ask you first, just give me your overall first blush on the governor's speech.
Sure, Dan. Good morning. Good to be back with you. I thought it was an outstanding speech. It was a nice blend. I thought a very nice mix of nostalgia, looking back over the last 7 years and all that we've dealt with and all that we've accomplished between the governor and the General Assembly, and making Tennessee the greatest state in the nation. And then also looking ahead for the next year. The governor is entering his 8th and final year in office, his 8th and final legislative session, which we just convened, and he still wants to get a lot done. The words lame duck do not apply to Governor Bill Lee. He's got a lot he wants to get accomplished before he leaves office, and obviously he wants to set our next governor up for success as well. So I thought it was a really, really good speech.
I'm going to get to some of the specifics that the governor said in the speech, but first I want to segue over to a story that came out. I think it was yesterday. I've been gone a few days, so I'm a little timeline confused, but story came out where you have some very important conservative voices out there that are saying that the state legislature needs to take control, if you will, or have some sort of oversight over NES. Now, I would assume that you and I agree. Maybe some points we may differ, but bottom line is, by and large, NES has been an absolute train wreck through this ice storm. We can talk about lack of preparation, lack of oversight. We could talk about, the protecting the tree canopy and not the power poles, cutting $7 million from the budget for tree trimming. We could talk about the DEI. I mean, there's a lot there, but just give me your opinion on, what your thoughts are as the Senate Majority Leader on having some oversight over NES.
Well, Dan, I couldn't agree more. It has been an absolute disaster, and it breaks my heart that you still have people without power. And even though the temperatures are warming slightly, you think about people being in their homes when you have overnight lows in single digits. And we have people here at the Capitol who are still without power, and I've talked to them. I never lost power down in Franklin, but people who were with kids and elderly and not being able to heat their homes. It's completely and wholly unacceptable. So I agree completely with that. So we are having conversations here at the Capitol about the composition of the board, who is ultimately accountable for that. It is reminiscent to me, Dan, to legislation that we considered, and we may consider something along the same lines relative to NES. But you've got the Nashville Airport Authority, the Nashville Board of Directors for the airport for decades, really since the inception of the Nashville Airport. The Board of Directors is appointed by the mayor of Nashville. Well, only 32% of the people who utilize the airport live in Nashville. Others come from other parts of the state and even other states. Same with NES. They have a service area that is beyond just the city of Nashville, including parts of Williamson County that I represent. So why is there no representation on that board from someone from Williamson County or other areas that they service? So yes, we're going to take a look at that. And here's the final thing I'll say about it. When you make a decision to live in Nashville, you don't get to shop for electric providers. Yep. It is truly a monopoly. And when you have that situation, you have to have absolute accountability, and there needs to be accountability back to the ratepayers, the people that are being serviced by them. And when you have a catastrophic failure like we've experienced during this ice storm, there has to be accountability.
So the mayor is going to be putting together this commission, and you've got a couple of Metro Council members that are going to be part of the commission. The other 7, Jack Johnson, are going to be appointees of the mayor. Now, it is my opinion that the mayor also needs to be looked at with, as you say, this catastrophic failure. the commission is supposed to look at NES, but how let me put it this way. Do you believe that a commission that is, basically appointed by the mayor will look at the mayor's culpability in all of this? Or should, a couple of members of the state legislature be part of this commission or appoint people on this commission? Maybe the governor should have an appointment or two on this commission as well. I don't know what the point is. If this is going to be nothing but, either Metro City Council members or mayoral appointees. I just don't know what good this commission will do.
Well, I couldn't agree more. You should have some accountability from outside the metro government circle. And we'll see who the mayor decides to put on this commission. And I don't know that that's fully been announced, but I think it would reflect well upon him to do exactly as you say. Put someone from Williamson County. There are people in Brentwood who are NES customers that live in Williamson County. They don't get to vote for Freddie O'Connell. They're not constituents of his. They're not constituents of the Metro Council. So get some people from outside. I'm all for that, but let me be very clear. That's not going to stop the General Assembly and those of us at the state level from taking a look at this as well, because ultimately that accountability does roll up to the state. The state is the ultimate sovereign authority, governing authority for the state of Tennessee, and we're going to take a hard look at it as well.
Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson is joining us on Super Talk 99.7. Time to check the roads real quick on WTN. Mostly cloudy today, periods of rain in the afternoon, a high of 46, going to feel like a 41. Appreciate you listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson joining us. Senator, this headline from the Tennessee Star, the Office of the Tennessee District Attorney's General Conference has released its annual state immigration report, revealing that in 2025, illegal migrants committed 2,183 violent offenses, including 41 homicides, 145 sexual offenses, 11 child rapes, and a whole lot more. So it really, in seeing those numbers, it really does make a lot of sense that the state legislature, working with the Trump administration and the governor, working very hard to demagnetize the state of Tennessee.
Absolutely. And in fact, we had a press conference the first week of session, the week before the ice storm. We had both speakers, the Senate and the House, the Majority Leader of the House, myself, Majority Leader of the Senate, had a press conference talking about a package of legislation that we're introducing. This builds upon what we did a year ago. If you recall, after the election of Donald Trump in November of 2024, we came into session in early 2025. We held a special session. We dealt with school choice, but we also passed comprehensive immigration reform legislation, knowing that for the first time in many years, other than the first Trump administration, we were going to have a president in the White House, Donald Trump, who is actually doing his job relative to enforcing our immigration laws. We've had administration after administration, some Republican, some Democrat, who promised that they would secure the border, that they would address the problem of violent illegal aliens in our communities that are committing these crimes. And you're right, those statistics are horrifying. And we want Tennessee to be a model. We wanted to make sure that the White House knew and Tennesseans knew that we were going to cooperate with the Trump administration and immigration enforcement officials to get these violent criminals out of our state. We created the Central Immigration Enforcement Office. We encouraged our sheriffs and provided some incentive money for them to sign up for 287G to cooperate with immigration and customs enforcement. So we've done a lot, and we're going to build upon that this year, and those numbers articulate why that has to happen. And I'm proud to say that Tennessee already is, and we're going to build upon that to be a model state in how you cooperate, your local law enforcement, your state law enforcement, your prosecutors, all levels of government and the judicial system cooperating with President Trump to get this job done. And compare that to states like Minnesota and California that are in fact trying to impede and inhibit the ability of those federal immigration enforcement officers to do their job.
real quickly, because I know this was a big issue during the election between Matt Van Epps and Afton Bain. The governor said last night, we need to do more to help hospitals in the rural community. He talked about deregulation and doing what we can to promote building of hospitals and healthcare facilities in these rural communities, because these rural communities, they are growing big time. And so he talked a little bit about wanting to encourage the state legislature to begin some of that deregulation. Talk a little bit about that. He said you guys have already been doing quite a bit of work to encourage hospitals being built in rural Tennessee.
Sure. Healthcare delivery is a complex issue. You've got urban areas like Nashville, suburban areas where you have great access to good doctors and hospitals. But then we have millions of Tennesseans who live in some of our beautiful rural parts of the state, and they don't have that access, whether it's an emergency or just routine health care. And we very much want to try to fix that. One of the things that was included, Dan, in the Big Beautiful Bill, as we've come to affectionately call it, was something called the Rural Health Care Transformation Act. And it's President Trump's effort, along with Congress, to help states provide better access to health care in those rural areas. And there was an application. You could get grant money from the federal government. Tennessee was awarded just over $200 million. We'll get that each year for the next 5 years, so just over $1 billion to help expand healthcare access in our rural areas. Included in that application is exactly what you're talking about, encouragement from the Trump administration to further deregulate. You're right, we've done a lot of that in Tennessee. We have some complicated, antiquated laws that are on the books relative to how you have to have the government's permission before you open certain types of healthcare facilities. We have been reforming that in recent years, and I'm proud of some of the work we've done. The Trump administration would like for us to continue to do that. And it's not only opening up additional healthcare facilities, but it's also allowing people in the healthcare industry, people like nurse practitioners and physician assistants and pharmacists, to be able to offer additional services. Obviously, we want to make sure that's done in a very healthy and an appropriate way and according to people's education and capabilities. But we have the tools, we have the assets. We need to remove some of these regulatory hurdles so people can get the health care they need.
I am curious, because, I mean, that sounds like it's a good idea. Where do the Democrats stand on this? Because my vision, by and large, of the Democrats is whatever Republicans are trying to do in the State House, they're just going to scream that y'all are racist and all that kind of stuff. I know that not all of the Democrats are that nuts, but the loudest ones are. So is this the one issue that maybe you can find some bipartisanship on?
I hope so, Dan, and it's funny you mention that, because literally last night, sitting in the House chamber during the governor's State of the State address, and he was talking about some of the success we've had in Memphis with the Memphis Safe Task Force, with the National Guard being deployed there, and how the crime rate in Memphis has dropped enormously. It has dropped incredibly because of the additional resources we've put there. And one of the statistics the governor mentioned is that 136 children who were missing have been found and returned to safety. These are children who had gone off the grid and had not been found. I looked around the room. Democrats, the Republicans gave a big standing ovation over that, because that's incredible that that's happened. Democrats were seated. They didn't even applaud or stand up. Why? Because President Trump is involved. So you're exactly right. I've not conferred with any of my Democratic colleagues. I hope they'll join with us and work with us to help get this legislation passed. If they choose to fight it simply because it was suggested by President Trump, even though it's great public policy, we're going to pass it anyway, because we're going to do what's right for Tennesseans. If Democrats want to continue to make try to score political points by just being against anything that President Trump is for, or we as Republicans are for, then so be it. But I think it's shameful, and we're going to get good policy done regardless if they support it or not.
I've only got 30 seconds left. Totally unfair question. What is your biggest priority in this legislative session?
I'd have to say, continuing to work with the Trump administration, we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to get violent illegal aliens out of our community. You mentioned those crime stats. That tells you everything you need to know. We're going to be a model state, as we have been in so many other areas. States look to Tennessee for leadership and to see the good things that we're doing, and we're going to be the model to work with the Trump administration to get violent illegal aliens out of our communities.
Always great to have you on, and Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson joining us on the Newsmaker Hotline. Thank you very much for joining us on Nashville's Morning News. It is 6:54. Joan's got the news at 7. Joan.
Hey, coming up here, Dan, we'll take a look at what is happening this morning with NES and how many people are still without power. It's coming up at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, Joan, thank you. 6:55. If there's one thing that we have learned over the last week and a half or so is that we simply cannot count on NES or the government really for anything, obviously, which is why I'm reaching out to my friends at the Generator Supercenter to start figuring out my needs. You should do the same thing as well. Now, I learned how important generators are during power outages during my time in Indiana. And last week was a not-so-subtle reminder as to the power of Mother Nature and its ability or her ability to take down your power. So if you've been talking about whole house backup generators with your family like I have with mine, talk about it with the pros at the Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. This is not only a huge investment in your home, but also, yes, your family's safety. Now, they do feature expert installation, 24-hour monitoring as well. They are not going to leave you in the dark, like NES, and financing is available. Call them. Here's the phone number, 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952. Check them out on their website, GeneratorSuperCenterofNashville.com, GeneratorSuperCenterofNashville.com. 6:59 on Nashville's Morning News on WTN. All right, so 7546 says this. Generator Supercenter did our generator last year. It has been worth the money. It carried us through 2 storms in Dixon County since it has been put in. I'm telling you that. And I told you I was thinking about getting a generator, and then we were talking about moving and the whole thing. So anyway, Generator Supercenter, check them out. This is indeed a great company. It is 7 o'clock. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. Now 7 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Right now, we are looking at some cloudy skies. It's 30 degrees, and we'll get a little warmer today with a steady rain for our Tuesday. Stefano's full forecast is coming up right after the news. Tennessee Emergency Management says the death toll from our winter storm has gone up again. 25 deaths now attributed to the storm. That's up from 2. That's up 2 from yesterday. There were 3 in Davidson County, 2 in Hickman, and 1 in Cheatham County. Meantime, power is still out to nearly 19,000 customers of Nashville Electric Service. And Channel 4's Jeremy Finley has dug into the financial records at NES.
According to NES records, its CEO, Teresa Broyles-Applin, was approved for a 10% raise 2 months ago. Over the weekend, the mayor said, quote, NES is unequipped to communicate about a crisis and is now calling for an independent review of NES's ice storm performance.
So what's next? Tennessee U.S. Senator who's running for governor, Marsha Blackburn, was asked on Matt Murphy if heads should roll.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You know, when you look at whomever thought they were prepared for this storm, oh, yes.
Now, Mayor Freddie O'Connell says it's too early, though, to make any changes.
I've not yet evaluated what our opportunities are between the clarifications of asking for resignations versus firing. But I also feel like we are right now focused. We had, NES board and executive leadership present yesterday, and I know they understand exactly how clear I've been in my expectations for what's happening this week.
Meantime, guardsmen with the Tennessee National Guard have partnered with the Tennessee Forestry Service to open roadways and to restore power through several counties, including in Davidson. More details now about the FBI raid on an elections hub in Fulton County, Georgia. Multiple sources with that who are familiar with the incident confirming that officials arranged for agents who conducted the search to be part of a phone call with President Trump. ABC's Mary Bruce on that story.
The call was arranged by Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, who was spotted at the scene of the search. She says her presence on the ground was requested by the president. Gabbard explaining in a letter to top Democrats on the Senate Intelligence Committee that she facilitated a brief phone call for the president to thank the agents personally for their work. He did not ask any questions, nor did he or I issue any directives.
Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Everything in the green now on the futures market. The Dow futures are plus 20, NASDAQ futures gaining 134, and the S&P futures are up 18 points. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. got a crash on Briley Parkway. The westbound lanes past Clarksville Pike in Whites Creek. It's right at exit 21 there. You got a crash in Madison as well on the southbound side of 65 off Briley Parkway, exit 90A and B. The off-ramp right shoulder is blocked off by it. Eastbound on 24 in Laurel Hill, it's an accident just before Bell Road. In Madison, you've got Neely's Bend Road at Larkin Springs Road. That's an accident scene. One more, Maxey Road in Cedar Hill, north of I-24. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.707 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you. So, real quick, Joan, I guess you played an audio bite of Mayor Freddie in the last newscast.
Yeah.
So, do you have the ability to play real quick? Basically what I want to see is if the audio bite matches the description of 9443 of the super text line.
Oh, okay. Here you go.
I have not yet evaluated what our opportunities are between the clarifications of asking for resignations versus firing. But I also feel like we are right now focused. We had, NES board and executive leadership present yesterday, and I know they understand exactly how clear I've been in my expectations for what's happening this week.
So 9443 says that clip of Freddie O'Connell is laughable. Some tough language.
Word salad.
From a soy boy.
Yeah.
See, I think that's unfair because I've been called a soy boy, and I'm nowhere near what Freddie O'Connell is.
No, I can't even imagine the two of you standing next to each other.
If anything, I'm a soy man.
Yeah.
Sure. Anyway, moving right along.
So
Sam just looked at me like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
Whatever.
You made a tofu? Like what?
So
No.
we had a listener text in on the text line.
Yes.
And he said he works for NES and he wanted, he said, call me. I'll talk anonymously. So I chatted with him. I gave him a call and I chatted with him. He's in the field. I asked him if he's in the field or he wanted to stay very anonymous, right? So I know he's in the field. He's not an office worker kind of guy. He's in the
a
field.
lineman.
Right. Well, yeah. I guess we can call him that without him saying that. But he said that the decisions that are made are not made essentially by the management of the company. He puts all of the blame on the board. The power board.
That's what I said.
Yeah. So he said it's a very left-leaning board. The people who sit on it are, appointed to that position by the mayor. He said Mayor O'Connell has had at least one, maybe two picks on that board. And he said the only person that had a working knowledge and a real good understanding of what they do at NES, especially in the field, was a guy named Robert McCabe. And he just left, like his term is over, and he just left the board. He was most critical of the chairwoman, whose name I guess it's Delta Ann Davis.
I don't know if she's not the chairwoman. The chairwoman is that other woman with the hyphen name.
Okay.
But Delta Ann Davis, she is former mayor's Carl Dean's wife.
Ah.
And Dave, so it's total like nepotism and all that.
Okay, yes.
So
yes. And he said, for the most part, these people don't have a working knowledge of how a power company works. And he said that the woman he was referring to, and I asked him if Delta Ann Davis was the person he's talking about, and he said yes. So he said she has so little knowledge that the basic questions that she should be able to answer, she can't.
Yeah.
So
she's the board chair.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So Delta and well then I think there's a chairwoman, and then who's the CEO then?
There's the board chair Delta Ann Davis, the vice chair Casey Santos. Delta Ann Davis specifically says senior program advisor, energy, environment, and land use program, Vanderbilt Law School.
He said they're very, very enamored by solar power. And he said, we don't need that. We need power that isn't just like in the middle of the day for a few He said, we need power that's lasting, substantial.
The vice chair, I guess, was the CTO of Caliber Collision, which is like isn't that a body shop?
Yeah, it's a body shop.
What?
Well, if these people are, they have to be knowledgeable business people. So they need, they're running a business essentially. So they make the decisions, and it's the CEO and the company itself that carries out the decisions made by the board.
I don't want to racially divide people, but I think at this point we could all acknowledge if this board consisted of old men specifically, we wouldn't be having these conversations. I'm just saying.
CEO Teresa Broyles Aplin is also part of the conversation.
Is she the president?
Now, I asked him about her.
Yeah.
And he is not critical of her. He said she was the company I think it was CFO before this, and then she was elevated to the CEO. So she's very knowledgeable about the company, about the finances. And he said she essentially carries out, what they want her to do, or she'll lose her job too. So, she's just doing what she's told to do. I asked him about, is she big on DEI initiatives? And he said it's really not, it's not a big deal. It's just common courtesy kind of stuff. But he said it's not like she prefers that over, having working people in the field. I asked him, do you think you had enough people? He said, to be honest, nobody expected this to be this bad. He said, yeah, we saw a storm coming. Great. But he said nobody expected it to be like this. And he said a lot of the linemen came from Miami, and those linemen were saying, wow, this is kind of like after a hurricane in Miami. Mm-hmm. It's just that devastating. So he said, in the ice storm of 94, people went without power for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of the business. You don't pull up to a power line and say, oh, look, it's broken and fix it. It needs to be worked on down there, down the line, figure out the voltages.
The interesting thing about all of this, and we're going to have Tom Pappert on from the Tennessee Star coming up, but there's a lot of conversations about the linemen. We talked about this before I left, where they had all of these linemen that were ready to come in from another state. I think it was North Carolina. And the question was, and I asked the question, why are they in North Carolina? Do you have any idea how long it's going to take to go from North Carolina to the middle of Tennessee to, sort of dispatch them from there? I mean, you're losing at least a day traveling. They should be in the city when the storm hits. And then once the storm is over, you disperse and do what you need to do. So, but I do find that interesting. And, the DEI stuff, I think the question is how pervasive or invasive is it into a company? Because on the one hand, you might say, well, okay, so the employees have to take a few videos, right? But it's more than that. It's to me, having a company that has this DEI mentality embedded in it means that they're not promoting the right people, they're not hiring the right people, and they value the wrong things. For example, the tree canopy and saving the tree canopy versus, saving the power poles. And so I think that when you look at something like DEI, you might be able to say, in this guy's case, and I totally respect him, thank you for giving us your insight, where from his perspective, oh, yeah, the DEI, they make us take a few videos, whatever. But the reality is that is indicative of a sickness. I think that NES has a sickness where the DEI and, the tree canopy protection and all that stuff, I think that is a sickness. And that those are all symptoms of the sickness, which is progressive rule and Democrats. And so when you have all of these things, whether it's DEI, whether it is save the tree canopy and cutting the $7 million from the budget for trimming, all of those things are indicative of progressive rule, which is filled with wrong, bass-backwards priorities and bad decisions. And I'm not going to say corruption because I don't know about corruption, but certainly incompetence. And so from messaging, from being ready for the storm, and I totally appreciate that this was a once in a 30-year kind of a storm. I totally get that. But at the same time, it's your job to be ready. Yeah. And they didn't have the right people on that board to ensure that they were ready for this. We saw this coming. We had Stefano Di Pietro on the radio talking about it's gone from I think I even asked him the question, we've gone from a snowstorm to an ice storm. What didn't they understand?
Yeah, and he also talked about the thicknesses. So if you get a quarter an inch, you've got this. If you have a half inch, it's much more devastating. And he said we're expecting a lot of that ice.
Right.
This guy also said that he said I just want people to know that we're really doing everything we can. They're looking poorly upon them. They're just out there doing their job.
Well, here's the deal. And I know that people who are listening right now are not part of those people that are criticizing the linemen.
Yeah.
I know that our audience would not do that. I think that everybody on this stage, I have no idea what some of the hosts do, but I mean, I'm just telling you that on our show, we show nothing but gratitude and appreciation for the linemen. And so because I got accused of that over the weekend when I was spouting off about NES, but my thing is, it is obviously about management. That's what it is. There's not enough of those great linemen that are out there across Middle Tennessee and across Tennessee, and certainly Nashville. We were talking earlier. Mayor O'Connell said, hey, we've got, another, what did he say, 500 linemen coming in today? And it's like, we're 9 days out.
Like, right. Yeah.
How is it possible that we still have linemen coming in? And by the way, the other thing that I would be interested to know is, because I've heard from a lot of people who say that one of the big problems was that they needed engineers to walk the visiting linemen through the grid. And so that has also been part of the problem where they don't have enough people that know the idiosyncrasies, the ins and outs of the grid.
Yeah. So
not enough engineers. Then there's the conversation about the IBEW and the unions. You see how this whole thing, there's so many different talking points.
Yeah.
You want me to take that call? Sam? We got a guy, I'm not going to say his name, but we've got a guy who his son is a lineman.
Mm.
And all right, I'm going to take this call real quick. Am I saying the dude's name, Sam? Hey, Toby, is this Toby?
Yeah, it's Toby.
Okay,
I'm a female, but I got a boy's name.
My bad. Sorry. Go ahead.
I like that. That's cute.
So well, thanks. No, I was calling. I was listening to you guys talk about the IEBW and the linemen. My son's a lineman up in Ohio for AEP, and they had been ready. They were ready to come here and help us, and we would not bring them here or pay their rates. So now they won't come. His company won't.
Yeah.
So if we called them now, he said that they're not going to, but they had been waiting and they hadn't done nothing.
What I don't understand.
They were just there waiting, ready. And
Toby, what I don't understand is that this is all being paid for. Like this is an entity that, I don't know if you call them nonprofit, but I mean, this is being paid for. They're nonprofit. Okay. So this is being paid for. They're a not-for-profit. Why would they have a problem wanting to pay the rates of union guys? I love you get what you pay for, and if everybody's power is out, there's a couple 100,000 people with power outages at the time. Pay for the guys to come in here and get the job done.
I completely agree. He said that they hired like local people. He how unions are. So he was like, they brought some people across the line. He goes, we won't go there now. I mean, if my power was out, I'd be like, get your butt down here and fix my stuff.
All right, Toby.
I mean, he was at the shop waiting, and they never got the call because we were excited, think we were going to see him. He's coming to Nashville, and we wouldn't have him.
You know, and your story, Toby, is not the first one that I've heard regarding this. And when the crazy thing is, Joan, we were talking about this the day that it was being posted, or maybe the next day that it was being posted on social media, where you had really good, really smart linemen from other states, ready and willing to come in, and they wouldn't allegedly pay the IBEW union rates. But I don't understand why this is what I don't understand. Here's what I hope. What I hope is that whatever commission or whatever investigation the state legislature does, we find out the answers to these questions. One, did you, in fact, say no to union linemen from other states? That's number one. Or from here in Tennessee. And number two, if you did, why? Why did you do that? And it doesn't mean somebody accused us of being negative earlier in the broadcast. I'm sorry, but I am going to be negative when it comes to NES because I'm pissed off. Because you know what somebody accused me of, Joan? When I was talking about the Facebook post that I made over the weekend, and somebody said, because I was lamenting on the fact that the NES was all about DEI, and somebody said, oh, you don't like women, which is clearly not the case. So you don't like women, you don't like people of color, you don't like the handicapped. Ugh. And my response to that was, actually, those are the people, as I'm speaking out, that I'm trying to protect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Morons.
Yeah.
Let's see real quickly, this is Jason in Dixon on WTN. Hey, Jason, go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to kind of piggyback off of your comment there about paying the linemen, just have them come in and do the job. I live out in Dixon, and I feel the same way regarding the road situation and the lack of plowing, the lack of salt. It's like they completely ill-prepared, like no contractors on standby. Why is it that once a year we just can't get roads plowed and taken care of? And people will complain about the amount of like the possible tax increase to take care of that. It's like, well, how much economic activity was lost versus the amount that you would increase, your taxes just to have some good roads?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Jason, and I guarantee you that you get somebody really smart like a Scott Bessent, maybe a Stuart McWhorter, and you get them to look at the budget process of the city of Nashville. I guarantee you, Joan, they could find the money to make sure that the roads are plowed.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that there's money that is being spent stupidly, because that's a symptom of the sickness of progressive rule. It is 7:24. Joan's got the news coming up at 7:30. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here, NES leadership under fire, and the temperature is rising, too. Also, Bill and Hillary agree to appear before Congress. Those stories at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. At 7:25, Dan Mandis here for USS United Structural Systems. Listen, we got rain today. We've had a whole lot of snow and a whole lot of ice as well. And you need to go down into your basement, into your crawl space, and see if you see any signs of water, any signs of moisture. Because if you do, you've got to call my friends at United Structural Systems. Because, this time of year, February, it is a wet month. And so you need to be able to protect your home. USS, they are here to help you with just that. Now, figuring out where the water is coming from, that, of course, can be a nightmare. It can come from poor drainage, small cracks in your foundation walls, even a hidden plumbing leak. But the USS team of experts, they are going to find out why your basement or crawl space is wet, then create a customized plan to fix it the right way, and yes, with a lifetime warranty. Now, I trust these folks. They've been out to my house several times. You can as well. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. Find them online anytime. USSTN.com. 726, want to tell you about my friends at Loan Pronto. Now, they've got fixed rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%. That is the lowest in years. Dan Mandis here. You know, smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck in a 6% loan, you can lower your payment big time, or you can keep your primary mortgage intact and get cash out of your home's equity with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Now, one homeowner, listen to this, just got $250,000 out of their home's equity. They paid off all of their credit cards and a couple of car loans as well, cutting their monthly expenses by $2,000. So you call right now, you see what option works best for you, but don't miss the big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash out refis, or their famous Rapid Equity Loan. You can close in less than a couple of weeks, and you may be able to skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call them, tell them I told you to reach out at 615-499-5780, 615-499-5780, loanpronto.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Good morning. It is 7:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Mayor Freddie O'Connell ordering an investigation into how NES prepared for and responded to the January winter storm. Meantime, attention and anger is being directed at NES's leadership for the failed storm response. Here's Channel 4's Jeremy Finley.
No power.
Michelle Cudd saw what NES posted on social media before the storm.
There wasn't anything behind that post, with the exception of just, we're going to blanket this house and say, we're ready, we're with you, Nashville. Well, okay, obviously they were not.
While the Post reads, "We're ready," Cud, who was without power for 7 days, says the company's leadership suggests otherwise.
I didn't have one iota of any kind of text, email, anything until Friday morning, and it says my power's on, and it's not.
NES still has some 19,000 customers without power this morning. Congress was this close to holding former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in contempt for ignoring a congressional subpoena. But now their lawyer says they will appear for questioning over their ties to Jeffrey Epstein.
Neither Bill nor Hillary Clinton has been accused of wrongdoing, and they both deny having any knowledge of Epstein's crimes. They proposed alternatives to in-person testimony, recently offering to sit for a 4-hour transcribed interview. But Chairman Comer balking at that offer, claiming the former president would try to run out the clock by giving unnecessarily long answers. Comer saying the former president has an established record of being a loquacious individual. And overnight, Comer appearing skeptical that the depositions will actually happen, saying the Clintons' counsel has said they agree to terms, but those terms lack clarity yet again.
ABC's Sophie Flay reporting. That is the latest news. We've got traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Dan Mandis here for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. I love these folks. They helped me a lot with my chronic back and neck pain. I want you to remember this phone number. You may not need it now, but you may need it at some point. 615-246-5009, the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They've got great technology, including something called the HydroWave. Now, this is one of the only HydroWave machines in the state of Tennessee to have this new device. And from what I'm told, the HydroWave is incredible, exclusively at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. And of course, they have that amazing non-surgical spinal decompression. That is what I went through. And that non-surgical spinal decompression is the best therapy you will ever find. And right now, the Wellness Institute of Nashville, they've got a great deal going on. 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression. That is going on here in the month of February. So if you've got back or neck pain, sciatica, slipped or bulging spinal discs, call them, 615-246-5009. Don't forget 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression for the new year. 615-246-5009, painisbad.com.
Okay, it's a crash in East Nashville on Main Street at Spring Street, one in Murfreesboro on Jefferson Pike. This is east of I-40. Watching Hillwood on 40, the westbound lanes past Charlotte Pike. A crash reported at exit 201 there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
7:36, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The phone number, text line, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Mayor Freddie sounded really tough. People were laughing earlier about Freddie O'Connell and his big press conference yesterday. Here's one clip.
NES assured us that there are no further barriers that Metro can clear to speed up restoration of power, and they've given us reason to hope, with hundreds of additional line workers arriving over the past 24 hours to join